Hey guys, this is Maliha from the Site Blogger, and in today's video, I will show you how all the different parts of a content business come together. The reason I'm making this video today is because I had a coaching call earlier this week, and in that coaching call, I was talking to someone who has been blogging for a couple of years now, and they have all the different pieces. They have a blog, they have a newsletter, they have social media presence, they also publish on Medium, but the needle isn't moving. Basically, they have no idea how to monetize, even though they have been blogging for a couple of years consistently, like they have been really good at publishing regular content, and they're also good at publishing regular newsletters, but they only have like less than 50 subscribers in 2 years. So when I looked at their system, I realized that they have no idea how the different parts of this content business come together. Like, you can have all the necessary parts, you can have a blog, you can have social media presence, you can have newsletter, but if you don't know how to connect them together, it is very difficult for you to make any money with it or even grow an audience. So in this video, I will try to connect all those dots for you. And hopefully, if you once you understand the system, you will have a better understanding of how to do something with it, how to make sure that your audience converts into newsletter subscribers, or why do you even need a newsletter? Like, if you don't know the purpose of a newsletter, and if you're just sending newsletter and not actually using it the way it's supposed to be used, then you're just wasting money because newsletters cost money, right? So hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have a better understanding of this entire system of the content business. Whether you use a blog for that, whether you use social media, or whatever kind of content game you have got going for you, it's all going to make sense when you understand this cute little flowchart that I made for you. Try to follow my cursor, which is this blue blob, as you can see. So this blue blob will function as my pointer, kind of, basically. So let's start at the right side of this page. As you can see, it says newsletter, and the star over here at the top corner of the newsletter box represents the most important part of this flowchart. Basically, whatever it is that you're doing, your goal is to get people to your newsletter. I mean, sure, essentially the main goal is to make money, but I will talk about money in a second, but I need you to understand that the newsletter part is the most important, and it will be clear in a minute when I explain why that is. So, whether you're blogging or you're using social media, the goal is always to get people on your newsletter. So here's how it works. So we're starting over here at the right side of this page, and we'll move to the left. So if you follow the arrows, you'll see that to get people to your newsletter, typically most people use a couple of different ways to do that, to grow their newsletter. They use either social media or they use a blog. Now, both are very useful, but from what I have seen, what I understand, I have realized that the two have slightly different functionalities and slightly different aim, if you will. So people who are mostly on social media, they are trying to get customers or clients basically for their coaching services or some other type of service. So a lot of the content creators also coach people. So whether you are a financial coach, whether you are a business coach, whether you are a life coach, or whatever it is that you're doing, typically you will have better conversion if you're on social media. Now, a blog, on the other hand, can also do all of that, but the blog is useful in the sense that you can actually kind of make direct money with your blog. So, for example, if you want to make money with affiliate marketing, a blog is extremely useful. And if you follow the dollar sign, the green lines that has a dollar sign next to it, that's how you make money. So you can make affiliate income with a blog. You can do sponsored blog posts, and you can partner up with, let's say, uh, companies and brands, and you can do like sponsored posts, paid sponsored posts, and you can also sell courses and memberships. Now, as you can see, there are three exclamation marks, the red exclamation marks on top of them, and that's because having only a blog is not going to be all that useful if you're selling courses and memberships. You might end up selling some courses and membership, but in order to really double down on courses and membership, you will need a newsletter, and we'll get to that in a second. But to get people to your newsletter, this is mostly how you do it. You do it either with a social media presence or you do it with a blog. Or if you have time, you can double down on both. But make sure to understand that they're both quite a bit of work. And if you're a part time creator, or even for a full time creator, if you're just starting from scratch and you're learning everything, if you don't really know how all of these things work, I would recommend that you choose one of them, either social or blog, and then double down on it. Now, I personally, as you know, I like a blog because I get a headache with social media. Recently, I started using social media a little more, and I can tell you that I'm already struggling. I'm just, different people have different strengths and weaknesses, right? I am definitely strong. My strong suit is definitely a blog. I like writing. I enjoy writing long form content, and which is kind of the opposite of social media. Even the long form content on social media is nowhere near a long form blog post. But that's what I enjoy. I'm good at that. I know how to like work a long form blog post to my advantage. And so that's how basically a blog works. Now, another difference between a social media and a blog is that a social media has built-in traffic. So there's algorithm that drives traffic to social media posts, whereas to get traffic to your blog, you have to use something else. Now, social media can actually work as a catalyst to drive traffic to blog, but I have found that the best way to drive traffic to a blog is either with organic traffic, with using SEO, search engine optimization, or Pinterest. But if you can, both. Like I do both. All of my blog posts are optimized for search engines, and I also use Pinterest to drive traffic to my blog. I do both, and between the two of them, organic and Pinterest, organic is definitely stronger because there are way more people searching on Google than people who are on Pinterest. So naturally, if you know how SEO works, you can actually get more traffic with SEO to your blog. Now let's talk about blog because I'm a blogger and I mostly talk about blogs. So I'm not going to talk too much about social media in this video or at all from this point on because I think I said everything I needed to say. You use social media, you can use social media to drive traffic to your newsletter. Um, and it's also great for people who want coaching clients or someone who provides services, basically. Now let's talk about the blog. So let's say that you have set up your blog and you're using SEO and Pinterest to drive traffic to your blog. Now you can start monetizing a blog directly using affiliate marketing, sponsored posts. And there's one other thing that I haven't mentioned here, which is display ads. So, AdSense and whatnot. Now, I don't mention it here because I hate display ads. It clutters up the website sometimes, depending on how you're using it. It can actually like really mess up the website's aesthetics, usability, and all of that stuff. And I really don't recommend it unless you are really good at driving hundreds of thousands of people to your blog and your primary income is ad money, then I really don't recommend it. So we're not going to talk about ads either. So the three main ways that you can make money from a blog directly is affiliate marketing, sponsored posts, and some courses and membership, but not too much. People who are browsing blog posts, they're not always interested in directly buying courses or membership, subscription, etc., etc. To do that, you actually have to drive your blog traffic to your newsletter. All right. So that's why the newsletter is so important, because if you're serious about making good money from your content business, like you can be a part-time creator and make full-time income if you have a newsletter. I I'm a part-time blogger, I'm a side blogger, and believe me, I am a side blogger. I only work a few hours, not even like 20 hours per week. I typically end up working no more than 10 to 12 hours on a regular week. So if I can make six figures, that is only because of my newsletter. Trust me on that. So what happens when you have a newsletter is that there are ways to make money. Um, and I have mentioned four different ways to make money with a newsletter. The first one is newsletter ads. And the order here doesn't necessarily signify the kind of money you can potentially make. So newsletter ads um, are a good way to make money. I know some creators who make thousands of dollars using newsletter ads. I only started using, or I only started selling newsletter ads, so I don't really make too much money as of yet. I believe last month was my first full month of running newsletter ads, and I made a little over $700, which is pretty good actually as a first time newsletter ad seller. And then the other method, and the one that I personally use a lot, is courses and membership. So as you know, if you have been around, then you know that I sell course. I have that my flagship course, How to Sell Canva Templates, and I recently soft launched my membership vault, soon to be launched fully. But yeah, so I have been getting members to my membership vault using my newsletter as well. And that's where most of my money comes from, actually. Most of my money is tied to my newsletter in the way of selling courses and membership. And the third one is coaching and services. So I mentioned that, if you're on social media, let me briefly mention social media once again. You can actually get leads for your services and coaching services and whatnot using social media directly. Um, but I know for sure that you can also use your newsletter to get coaching clients, and you can sell your services. I don't really sell my services, not yet anyway, but I have sold coaching using my newsletter, so I know that it works. So in the future, I'm hoping to double down on coaching, one-on-one coaching. Um, and that's actually one of the reasons why I recently started using social media as well. But yeah, it is definitely, having a newsletter is definitely useful, because a lot of the times what happens is that people who like you or like your content but not yet ready to make the investment for a one-on-one coaching, because let's face it, one-on-one coachings can be pretty expensive actually. So a lot of people are not ready to invest that kind of money right away. So they might subscribe to your newsletter and kind of silently observe what you do, whether they like you or not, what kind of content you provide, whether they're benefiting from you or not. And then a lot of the times, only after being on the newsletter for months and sometimes years, somebody would be like, okay, I'm now ready to make that investment. So a newsletter is a long term game, kind of. You consistently send newsletters, consistently send values week after week, year after year, and it pays off in big, big ways, like really big ways. Like I'm talking about six figure, seven figure, eight figure. The creators, the content creators who make like that kind of money, they do it thanks to their newsletter. They don't just blog or they don't just use social media. Most of their money is actually tied to their newsletter. So that's why I have that red star on top of newsletter, because it is the most important thing. So whatever you're doing, whether you're, on social media or on blog, your goal is to send people to newsletter. And there are ways to do that. Like, for example, if you go to my blog, you will see that I have newsletter opt-in multiple times in every single page. Like every single blog post you go to, there's a there's a newsletter navigation item at the very top. There's a newsletter opt-in form in the sidebar. There's a newsletter opt-in form a couple of times often inside the blog post itself. There may also be a pop-up. So I'm just bombarding people without being too naggy, hopefully. Um, I'm My goal is to get my newsletter in front of people as often as possible because I want people to be on my newsletter because I cannot serve my audience to my full extent um, as much as I can without a newsletter because a blog is just sitting there, you know. I can't control when people read my blog post. Even when people bookmark my blog or save it or whatever, it's kind of like I don't have any control over when when they think that okay, maybe I'm just gonna go to Maliha's blog and see what she has to say. It doesn't work that way. Whereas on with a newsletter, I can send regular broadcasts using my newsletter, and people open their emails. That's something that we know already. People don't just leave an email sitting on their inbox. They either open it or if they don't like it, they unsubscribe. And that's fine, by the way. But those who do not unsubscribe, they will likely read that email as soon as I send it to them, or if not as soon, then within a few days anyway. They're probably gonna read it. So that's why newsletter is so important because if you're selling something, whether it's a course or a membership, um, or coaching or whatever it is that you want to sell, if you want money right now, you can just publish a blog post and hope for people to stumble on it and buy something. If you're selling a course right now, if you're selling a course today, you sure go ahead and write a blog post, go ahead and post on your social media. But people are going to be like, oh, okay, it's there. Okay, I just saw it. Yeah, okay, maybe I'll go check it out. But a newsletter, as soon as you send it, you can give them all the information within the email. You can tell them that, hey, I'm selling it for only 3 days, or I have a discount for only 4 days or 5 days. And that way you can create scarcity, you can create urgency, you can create all kinds of things. And that way you can make more money using a newsletter. So here's to you and my coaching client who I was talking to earlier this week, and everyone else who has all the different parts, but you don't know how to connect them. This is how you connect them. You get traffic to your blog, or if you're on social media, you already have algorithm. It's just about posting a certain way so that you get more people to see your content. But then, whether it's on social media or a blog, your goal is to get those people into your newsletter. And then once they're in your newsletter, you can start selling things and making money through your subscribers. All right. So I have one more slide that I want to show you. It's the same thing, just a different way of showing it in case it makes more sense to you. So it's a funnel. It's a content funnel. So it's a think about it as a creator's journey funnel. There are different types of funnel. There are sales funnels and whatnot. This is not a sales funnel. This is a creator journey funnel. So at the top of the funnel, at the wide opening, you have blog, social media readers and followers. They're in that shallow region. And this is what you use to show your audience what you have to offer, basically, that shallow region. And then you have newsletter subscribers. So when people go to your blog or social media and they like what you have to offer, they may think that, okay, I like what they have to say and I want to stay in the know. I want to stay in touch. So they will subscribe to your newsletter. And then they go to this narrower region where your newsletter subscribers are. And it's narrower because not everybody who reads your blog or see your social media content will actually subscribe to your newsletter. So right away when you get people on your newsletter, you're actually reducing the number of your audience. And by the way, that's a good thing because these people are smaller in number, but they're more serious about learning from you. And that's what you want. So in the newsletter, they like what you have to offer, but they're not ready to make a financial commitment yet So they subscribe to your newsletter. And then once they're on your newsletter, you can actually start converting some of them. And that's going to depend on who's ready to make a purchase, because some people are ready to make a purchase right now, and others will require months or even years before they make that commitment. So just to give you an example, I recently soft launched my membership vault, right? Some of you who have been around, you know. And I have had people who have been with me forever buy the membership for the first time. That was their first monetary investment. I've also had people who have been buying from me since the first time I launched a product. Um, I have had those people as well. And then I have had people who joined me less than a month ago, and yet they made the financial commitment and the investment to join my membership vault. So there are all kinds of people, and it kind of depends on who's ready to take action. Okay, it has nothing to do with you, more to do with them. So if someone likes your content, doesn't mean that they're ready to start a blog and start making money. Okay, some people are just thinking about it. They're, testing things out, kind of getting a feel for it, consuming the content just to see if they're vibing with it. And they're just not ready. But they will be, some of them, maybe not all of them, but some of them will be. But once they're in your newsletter and they're, regularly seeing content from you, and if they like you, then eventually the more they see you, the more you'll be on their mind. And when they're ready to make that commitment, the financial commitment, guess who they're going to think about? They're going to think about you. And if you have what they need, then they're going to buy from you. So that's what the creator journey funnel looks like. You have your blog, your social, so you can grab the shallow end readers and followers who are just, you know, browsing, looking for things. That's in the shallow end. And then those who are a little more serious and those who connect with you or relate to you will subscribe and become your newsletter subscribers. And then from there, depending on what you're offering, they will, some of them, not all of them, that's why the funnel is even narrower where you see the buyers. Some of them will buy from you and become your buyers. And that is how you connect the dots and start making money with your content. And your products, typically for content creators, their courses, memberships, or coaching services and whatnot. Either way, this is the journey. So whichever makes more sense to you. This is the funnel. This is the flowchart, and this is the funnel. But essentially, they're both saying the same thing. And that's today's video. Hopefully, you have a better understanding of how to connect all the dots of the creator's journey from getting the first readers to getting buyers, making money. And yeah, that's it. If you want to learn more from me, I will leave my newsletter subscription link in the description of this video, and I really hope that you will subscribe, and I will have more to offer you 3 times a week. That's how often I send a newsletter. And that's it, and I will see you with a different video sometime soon. Bye.